Hello, welcome to Michelle Sews Again. I'm Michelle. Today I'm going to talk to you about the Sewing Revival Bellbird top and how many I have made. So I'm going to walk you through a little bit about the actual pattern and all the usual details about it, and then I will talk through all the different versions that I made. Versions might not be a good word, but anyway, all the ones that I've made. All right, so and I'm wearing one of them right now. So the description of this top is that it is a loose fitting dolman sleeve top with elasticized cuffs on the sleeves. The sizing on this, it goes from extra small to extra large with, and the important measurement on this garment, at least for me, was the hip circumference, because I'll show you the line drawing here. It is a tapered bodice. So it goes from being oversized on the top to fitting at the hips. And the sizing for the extra large, which by the way, I think they changed their sizing because my pattern, I made the 2XL. That is no longer an option, but the measurements for the largest size within the extra large were close enough to my measurements that I'm pretty sure that that's the size that I made. So I think they just changed the breaks for the sizing, if that makes sense. So at first I was a little annoyed because I thought they got rid of the 2XL, but once I started looking at the measurements, I'm fairly certain that they just changed which sizes go in which bucket. I don't know why they would have done that, but anyway, so the hip circumference on the extra small, the smallest size within the extra small, is 35 inches. Yes. And the largest hip circumference is 52 3/4 inches. I have a 53-inch hip, so that was close for me. And so I'll walk you through the adjustments that I made in a minute. Fabric-wise, their recommendation for this fabric is a lightweight drapey woven. And I'll get into that in a minute as well. The difficulty level, as described on the Sewing Revival's website, is confident beginner. I actually believe a beginner could make this. It's one of the simplest garments I've ever made. In fact, it is one of the first garments that I made when I came back to sewing in March of 2020, and I didn't have any difficulty with it at all. And it was probably, I don't know, in the first 5 garments that I made. So I would say I wasn't even a confident beginner yet. I was just a straight up beginner. So I feel like this is definitely a super easy, beginner friendly pattern. And as far as sizing goes, I mean, 52 3/4 inch hip, it's better than some, but not as good as others. All right, so that's basically the description. The other description is that it does come with like a rounded neck. It also comes with a V-neck. I've not made the V-neck version yet, only because I didn't print those pattern pieces out from my PDF, because this is back when I was printing and pasting them together myself. I would like to make a V-neck version, so I will probably find that pattern in my computer and print out the V-neck pieces, or just make the adjustments to the pattern pieces I already have printed out. I think I could figure that out. Anyway, so as far as pattern pieces go, it comes with a front piece and a back piece. They're both cut on the fold, and the sleeves are basically grown on dolman sleeves, so there's no sleeve piece. And then there's a front facing and a back facing, and that's it, 4 pieces. I will tell you that I don't love facings. I did use the facing pieces for my first couple of garments, and after that I started doing bias binding. I feel like I'm in the minority there, but I prefer bias binding to facings. Anyway, so let me walk you through, is that it? Oh, adjustments that I've made. So as far as the fit goes, the top portion fits me great. There's a lot of room Here, let me show you. See, I mean, this is where I am, and this is how much room there is. So there's a lot of room at the top. I didn't need to make any adjustments there, but as I showed you in the line drawings earlier, it is a tapered bodice. And the 52 3/4 inches, I was not, well, and that actually hit me at the top of my hips, which is not my favorite place for tops to hit me. So I have made 2 adjustments to this pattern piece. I lengthened it by 2 inches because I wasn't happy with it hitting like right in the middle of my stomach. And I also added 1 inch to the hip circumference. And that has just, I mean, this one is my perfect one. It hits me right where I like it lengthwise. It hits me right where I like it lengthwise, and it gives me plenty of room around my hips so that I don't feel like I'm being squeezed in. So I did not make those adjustments to my first few because I was still too new to sewing and I didn't really know how to do those things. So my first couple are the shorter, tighter versions. However, I did make my first 3 Bellbird tops in double brushed poly from Joann's because I didn't really pay attention to the fabric requirements. And that actually ended up working out great. So, because if I had made those in wovens, I wouldn't have been able to get the hem over my hips. So, well, and actually the very first one I made, I gave away as a birthday gift. So I don't have that one to show you guys. But ultimately, I have made 6 versions, 6 of these tops. 5 of them, I made all the same version. I've only made the round neck version, but I did make I made those adjustments to the length and the hip circumference. One of my versions is a dress. So I hacked it into a dress. Basically, also as the other adjustment that I made when I added the length, the 2 inches of length, I also straightened out the silhouette. So it's no longer tapered in like this, it's straight down for me, which is also how I was able to get the 1 inch. I just added the 1 inch and then graded it up into the arm curves, and that worked out perfect for me. So basically once I made that adjustment, and I've made 2 tops like this with those adjustments, then all I had to do was lengthen it down to my knees to make the dress version. So I love this top. I think it's very beginner friendly. I especially love it now that I've started adding bias tape instead of facing, because you can add a little bit of fun into the inside and nobody knows it but you. I love the cuffs. I love the fact that the elastic is intentionally made to be loose and not to hug your arm, because it gives it a little bit of styling detail, but then it's not, you know, holding your arm so tight that it's uncomfortable. Let me walk you through the versions that I made. So the first one, like I said, is a gift that I gave away for a birthday gift, so I don't have that one to show you. I think I can show you a swatch of the fabric that I used though, because I think it's still available at Joann's. It was a greenish, olivey green snakeskin double brushed poly, snakeskin print double brushed poly. It was, I mean, that double brushed poly is so soft and cozy, but I made that one, was my very first one, and she loved it, and she wears it to work and gets compliments all the time. The second one that I made was for myself, and it was also out of a double brushed poly from Joann's, and I'll pop a picture in here of me wearing it. I did not yet extend the length or the hip circumference on this one, because it was made out of the double brush poly. I was able to get it to fit. The length of it's not my favorite, so I don't wear it a ton. And the other thing is that one I've had for over a year now, because it was one of the first ones that I made, and there's a lot of pilling going on that fabric. I've washed it a lot because I've worn it often at home. I haven't worn it a lot out, but it's definitely not, the fabric isn't holding up that well. The third one that I made was from a rayon. Yeah, a rayon that I got from fabric.com. I love this print. You'll see it here. And this one I did lengthen. And so this one I love. I wear it a lot. I was still using the facing pieces in this one though. So that's my third one. My fourth one was made out of this spoonflower fabric, which I love this fabric, but so when I had lengthened my third one, I just did it on the fabric. I didn't make any changes to my pattern piece. So when I made my fourth one, I completely forgot to make those adjustments. So my fourth one is too short and too narrow. And it's unfortunate because this fabric is, well, I don't know that it would have made a difference in this particular one because the fabric is too stiff for this pattern. So the sleeves are just way puffy. As much as I love a good puffy sleeve, these are just too stiff. They're not puffy in a good way. So I love the fabric. I love the print on the fabric. I think I'm going to upcycle this one because I'm not going to wear it the way that it is. First of all, it's too short and too tight at the waist. And then those sleeves are they're just too much. So I'm gonna upcycle that one. The fifth one that I made is this one. And this one is my favorite one by far. This is when I started using the bias tape finish. Because I still used a facing on that last one. So this is the first one that I used the bias tape finish on, and I love it so much more. I don't have to, even when you tack those facings down, they're still like popping up. I don't know. The facing pieces on this pattern are just really thin. And I don't know, even when maybe if I top stitched it down, that would make a difference, but I don't love the facings. So this one is my favorite one by far. I love the way it fits. I love this fabric. This is a tie-dye, like, I don't know if this is cotton or what, I'll have to look it up, but this is from Joann's, and I love it. It's one of my favorite tops. And then the sixth version that I made is my dress hack, and I made this one using I made this one for Ankara Appreciation Week back in July. And I love it. I love the fabric. It came from House of Mami Wada. The fabric is just gorgeous, and it works. This pattern in a dress was the perfect vehicle to showcase how fabulous that fabric was. So it did end up being a little bit shorter than I would have liked. I should have made it a little bit longer, but it works. I'm gonna wear it. I could even wear it in the winter with some black leggings or something, but that one I love, and I will get some wear out of that. So yeah, those are my versions of my Bellbird top. I see more of these in my future, especially now that I've traced the pattern out and I have the permanent version with the extended hip circumference and the added length, and it's perfect for me now. So do you have any patterns that you have made on repeat? I would love to hear about it. What are your like go-to tops? And what do you think of the Bellbird top? I know there's another pattern out there. I think it's called the towel cuff pattern. I forget who it's by. It's extremely similar to this one. This one was out by March of 2020 because that's when, or March or April, because that's when I made this one. I think this pattern came out first. Not that that matters, but yeah, I think there is another one. I can't remember who the designer is or the pattern company. If I can think of it, I will pop it up here. But they're very similar. I think the only difference is maybe the amount of dolman in the sleeve. I think maybe the towel cuff the sleeve is a little bit shorter, maybe. I'm not sure. I don't have a need for that one since I have this one and they're so close. So if you've made that one, I would love to know your thoughts on it. So join me in the discussion below, And thank you so much for joining me today. I really, really appreciate it. And wherever you are, I hope that you're having a fantastic day of weather and that you're able to get some sewing in. Thank you so much. Bye.